Substance is the new movie by Coralie Fargeat, and this is her follow-up movie to 2017's Revenge. It's crazy to think that was like 7 years ago, but she premiered this one at Cannes, and it had a great reception. She took home the best screenplay prize. And here we follow this newly 50 Los Angeles based fitness entertainer, played by Demi Moore, who gets fired from her position, not for any health reasons, but because she is getting older, and decides to take this new Ozempic like serum called the Substance, which turns her into a younger, prettier version of herself, notably Margaret Qualley. As the audience, you can tell that this is going to be dangerous one way or another. And we've also seen a lot of different movies about body swapping or the struggles of feeling or wanting to feel human. I think of like Ghost in the Shell. But I'm happy to say that what we have on The Substance is a ton of interesting filmmaking from beginning to end. We have this real teeter-totter of maximal and minimal, with our main character really just being in her home for about 60% of this movie. So we don't really get to see her interact with too much outside, and whenever we do follow her outside, it's just right close to her the whole time. Whenever there is an accident or blood spilled, which happens often on this movie, the accident is all over the place. And you could tell by the framing and strange interior of some of the buildings in this movie that Coralie wants these images to speak louder than words. It all feels pretty postmodern. Besides Elizabeth, we don't really have any characters in this movie, only archetypes. Dennis Quaid is like this leather-skinned, repulsive womanizer, and Margaret Qualley is the cloned, younger version of Elizabeth, sure with her own desires and mind of their own. The dialogue is kept to a minimum, and images project the story. For 140 minutes, it zips by. This is a very well-edited movie. There's humor, too. This is a true satire of the beauty world, and there's deeper themes as well of shedding your own skin and not being able to let go of your older image compared to the current one that you have. There's a real balance of artful and gory fare. Both are done so well at a visual standpoint. The team behind this movie deserves all the credit for sure. And yet, I can't help but to find this movie a little limited in scope. This mirrored version of LA is the perfect setting for this movie. I love the opening scene, just focusing on a Hollywood star and people crossing it, and we get to hear their conversations. It feels accurate. A lot of the Los Angeles that we get on this movie feels like somebody from another planet that came to visit and went back and mimicked pretty well. I like how there are beautiful sights, interesting looking buildings, walkable areas, and the artificiality of the city is represented in some way too. I couldn't help but to wish at some point we would have had the perspective of the opposite of a woman like Elizabeth, who is similar in age but might look at femininity and beauty as something completely different than her. Also, there are guys in this movie that take the substance. Dennis Quaid's character and his henchmen, who are other suit-toting, leather-skinned guys, are most of who we see on this movie, and they seem like they would have too much pride to take something like the substance. And yet, guys who have taken the substance have showcased it to Elizabeth at one point or another in this movie. And maybe I'm thinking a little too hard over things like that. It's clearly a mirrored world. Things happen on this movie that you just can't question. But some of my favorite parts were the nods to our real world. I like how the substance packaging looked like a HelloFresh package. The substance itself, obviously Ozempic, rings a bell. Performances across the board are great. Demi Moore, this is a performance of a lifetime for her. She is a standout, really gives it her all. And Margaret Qualley is eye candy. I also think that her physical reactions to things. Just she can get angry and she can get dirty, and she's always a great actor to have. And despite my qualms, this is a standout piece of work for this filmmaker. It is full of expression, blood, and prestige appeal all around. So I found it very satisfying. I would give The Substance an 8.0. It is released by MUBI and playing in theaters everywhere now. Thank you for watching.